Situated off China's southeast coast, the island of Taiwan has been governed by both China and Japan. In 1949, following the Communist Revolution, 2 million nationalists fled the Chinese mainland and established a government on the island. Ever since, the status of Taiwan has caused political tension in the region. Chinese Taipei, as it's referred to by Beijing, is seen as a province of the Communist Republic. However, to the Taiwanese, the island is considered an independent nation. The majority of the island's 22 million inhabitants are ethnically Chinese, and the most widely spoken language is Mandarin. When it comes to sport, China's influence is also unmistakable, and nowhere more so than in the traditional martial art of Wushu. In 1958, the Chinese government established the All-China Wushu Association, and from that point, the modern sport of Wushu has evolved. The first Wushu World Championships were held in 1991, and as well as being part of the Asian Games, Wushu was also a demonstration sport at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. It was August 2009 when we traveled to this part of the world to find out more. One of the first people we spoke to was Peng Wei Chua, Taiwan's top Wushu performer and a former world champion.
For me, Wushu began quite late. When I was at university, I met Master Chang, who was an expert in Wushu. I loved all sports, but when I went to a specialist sports university, I fell in love with Wushu. I felt so refreshed every time I mastered a style of fighting or a routine. Ever since then, I've committed everything to becoming the best because Wushu is so satisfying mentally and physically.
Wushu is practiced widely in Taiwan, with many people learning the different techniques and disciplines that make up the sport. The most common forms of Wushu are individual performances with bare hands or weapons, which are known as taolu. They're judged on how well they match the particular style of fighting they're reflecting.
In China, Wushu is extremely popular. The majority of people there have a good understanding of the history behind Wushu. Competing at the Beijing Olympics, even as a demonstration sport, was fantastic for the sport. It gave Wushu an amazing platform. One day, I hope that Wushu can be in the Olympics full-time.
At the time of our visit, Fan Man-yun was Taiwan's top female Wushu master. She regularly won medals at competitions all over the world. Many purists see sport Wushu as alien to the core beliefs of the original martial art. But Fan didn't.
The big things I take from Wushu are a feeling of mental satisfaction and physical joy. Performing is personally satisfying. However, when you compete against someone else, it does inspire you to push yourself, which in the end gives you a higher level of learning. The more I compete, the more I realize that maybe the difference between competitive Wushu and Wushu as a personal pursuit is not that great.
As well as representing her country internationally, Fan Man-yun was also a teacher at a high school in the country's capital city, Taipei. As a child, she was a performer in a Taiwanese opera group. To help her with her performances, she was encouraged to take up Wushu. Such were the benefits she gained from practicing the sport, she decided to teach children the art of Wushu as well.
Wushu is well established in Taiwan, and we have an excellent infrastructure in the schools, where competitive Wushu is rising in popularity. This bodes really well for the future, because the more children who become technically proficient, the more success we will have internationally. I love seeing my students perform well in competitions. I personally think that the popularity of Wushu in schools comes from all the martial arts movies that kids grow up watching here. Everyone wants to star in a martial arts film, and learning Wushu at school gives these children not only discipline, but a great deal of enjoyment.
The development of Wushu since the first World Championships back in 1991 has been nothing less than remarkable. In Taiwan, competitive Wushu is now part of the national curriculum, and there are regular inter-school and inter-regional competitions. Fan Man Yun School was one of the best in the country, and its pupils had won dozens of national Wushu trophies.
I started to learn Wushu when I was 9 years old. When I perform with my fan, my performance is delicate yet powerful, and it feels like I have the whole world in my hands and in my control.
Wushu strengthens my body, and I've become much healthier since taking up the sport. If I wasn't doing Wushu, I would just be at home playing computer games. So I am glad I found Wushu, because it is much more rewarding than sitting at home and playing on the computer.
The influence of Wushu was evident in many aspects of life in Taiwan. As well as being the country's #1 performer, Peng Wei-chua also worked with one of Taiwan's top opera companies as a director of Wushu. Although not as demanding as the Wushu that Peng performed himself, the dances he choreographed for the opera performers had become extremely popular with the fans who flocked to see the shows.
Working with the opera, I have to adjust my Wushu techniques and draw inspiration from the story, creating moves that the actors and actresses can perform with ease. It's nothing like being a professional Wushu master. However, I really enjoy showing people a little bit of Wushu in beautiful operas.
His role working in traditional Taiwanese opera provided Peng with both the financial support and flexibility to concentrate the majority of his time on his #1 passion.
As a sport, there's huge potential for Wushu, but we need to adjust it to make it easier for people to follow. It's already made great progress over the last 10 years and has increased in popularity everywhere. Most people agree that it's beautiful to watch, so if we can also make it easier to understand, then I think Wushu will be present at major sporting festivals much more often.